This is Tyrese Haliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you for recognizing.
This is how legacies are built.
Haliburton takes it in the backcourt. Crosses over on Beverly. Float game for the win! Tyrese! The terror! Haliburton double team. Shot clock at 4. Nembhard's got to put it up. Step back. His three-pointer. Nembhard knocks the three down. Timeout Knicks.
Andrew Nembhard was so good.
17,000 on their feet. Siakam, a three. Siakam hits the three. 6 1/10. Pacers have the lead.
And that right there is why the Indiana Pacers traded for Pascal Siakam.
Neesmith with a running start. Oh my goodness! Just destroyed it. Aaron Neesmith. 10 seconds. McConnell baseline drive. Gives it up. Toppin. Corner three. And rattles in. Indiana pulls off a shocker.
The pep in the step is back.
Johnson cut off against Murphy with 6 to shoot.
And blocked by Smothered Chicken. Please give me some smothered chicken on that one.
You think Tyrese Haliburton is overrated? Think again.
Pacers down 3. Haliburton's got the ball. Haliburton rises up. Kidding me. Right in the grill of Giannis.
And that's a miss by Kuzma at the rim. Turner flushes it down the lane. Miles Turner with authority. Oh my God.
The crowd screamed, oh my God.
8 seconds. Haliburton against Giannis. Haliburton, 3 seconds. Puts it in. He put it in. 1 3/10.
There's no timeout.
No timeouts for the Bucks.
Just keep in mind what Indiana did in that clincher against Milwaukee. Look at that stick back. Neesmith misses. Haliburton the rebound. Now seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Haliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Haliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart. And it is over. The Indiana Pacers in a Game 2 stunner.
Yeah! 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 That's how we do.
What's up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast. And that is right, the Indiana Pacers, the AKA Cardiac Kids, do it again, and they take down another opponent in the clutch, Facci. 120, 119. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Tyrese Haliburton, get this man some ice packs because he's put this team on his back time and time again.
I am in awe of what I'm seeing. It's crazy that as much as we watch this team, it's still, you feel like this one might be over. And then they snatch it from the jaws of defeat. Their no lead is safe against this team. Cavs fans, ask the Bucks. It doesn't matter how much you're up with under a minute to go. No lead is safe. The Pacers once again do what feels like the impossible, and they win it at the buzzer. Tyrese Haliburton, his second game winner in 7 playoff games this year. That is crazy. Once again, Captain Clutch, Mr. Overrated, gets it done again.
Facci, his second game winner in 3 playoff games. The same exact scenario. They were down by 7 points, 119 to 112 with about 53 seconds left in the game, 57 seconds left in the game, and they win 120 to 119. They just find a way to win. And you cannot say enough amazing things about this team. And look, we hear all the Cavs disrespect, the Cavs podcasters or Cavs people giving the Pacers disrespect. They were saying Cavs in 5. Even after the Pacers won game 1, I was still hearing Cavs in 5, and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here, Facci? But listen to this. 119, 112, Pascal Siakam gets fouled, misses both free throws. Aaron Neesmith comes in, dunks it. First thing I see, Cavaliers fans saying it should have been a lane violation. How many lane violations and free throw things did we see that they didn't get called for Giannis against the Bucks? I don't want to hear it. He should have probably got an and one, too, because Donovan Mitchell gave him no room to land. They end up deciding, you know what, nothing there. Then the very next play, Aaron Nesmith, incredible once again, gets in the grill of Donovan Mitchell, draws the offensive foul, reviewed to see if it's a flagrant. Wasn't a flagrant. Pacers get the ball back. What happens next? Pascal Siakam makes a driving layup. It's 119-116. Very next play, Max Strus, terrible pass. Andrew Nembhard steals the ball. Pacers force the Cavs to use all their timeouts. Terrible pass throwing the ball in bounds. Tyrese Haliburton gets fouled by Ty Jerome, pushing the back. Goes 1 of 2 on the free throw line. Misses his second free throw, gets his own rebound, then hits the game-winner 24-foot three-point jump shot from 24 feet. I can't even talk. I'm just so, flabbergasted, Facci. What the heck just happened? How did they do this?
Just the perfect sequence of events. Every guy just, making a play. And just to go baback on that Aaron Nesmith dunk. So when Siakam misses both free throws, I'm like, oh, come on. This is just not our night. And in just one snap of a finger, an instance, Aaron Nesmith making a play, truly making a play. And when that dunk happened, I went, I guess there's a chance. When he forced that offensive foul on Donovan Mitchell, I went, oh my God. This felt like the Bucks game again. And it's just play after play. Indiana dug deep. I cannot remember the last time this team lost a close game. When it becomes close within 6 points, whatever it is, I start to be like, I don't know, we might just pull this out. And right now, Haliburton, think about this. He was battle tested. It was a rough game. He got hurt in this game. His hand, his wrist, whatever it was wrapped up. And it's a gutsy performance. I tweeted this out, but Haliburton had 8 points going into the fourth quarter. He had 8 points in the final minute and 24 seconds of this game. This is the modern day Reggie Miller, but with an out of this world playmaking capability. What Tyrese is doing right now is it's impossible to call him overrated or slander him, because he's proving to people it's whoa, this guy is one of the very best players in the league.
Facci, the way you win games is you play your best players heavy minutes.
Yeah.
And if you look in the fourth quarter, only 6 players played. That's Nembhard, Haliburton, Nesmith, Mathurin, Turner, and Siakam. And that is what Rick Carlisle, I think, made a big mistake early on in this game. Went way too many times to the bench units. And the Pacers would cut within 11. Oh, here's an all-bench unit lineup. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Hated it.
The rotations tonight were so out of whack, but I'm glad he cleaned things up in the fourth quarter, relied heavily on his guys, and it's just kind of like, how did they do it, Facci? Well, they just found a way. And so, that's what we say about this Pacers team all the time. Tyrese Haliburton in the fourth quarter, 11 points. Aaron Nesmith, 7. Ben Mathurin, a massive 6. But let's not discredit what he did in the third quarter, because he's the only reason they were even afloat going into the fourth, because he was the only offense that bench had out there. Andrew Nembhard had 4, Miles Turner had 4, Pascal Siakam had 4. So what can I say? I'm still speechless of what just happened. As a Cavaliers fan, I can't imagine how deflated you have to feel right now.
It's got to hurt. And I want to be respectful, because that's got to hurt. And you saw, they were without 3 players. Evan Mobley out, Darius Garland out, DeAndre Hunter out. I didn't want to be the guy that was oh my God, they're hurt. You got to win. But if you were the Pacers, you have to take advantage of that. To be able to go up 2-0 against a hobbled Cavs team, this was a must win. It really was. If you fumbled this game, you would look back if we lost the series and say, game 2, we let slip away. But I think that the Cavs played a really good game for 3 quarters. They were dominant in the first quarter. I was wondering, how did the Cavs look better defensively without a defensive player of the year? But guys were digging deep. And when you're talking about the rotations, Alex, 11 Pacers logged minutes in the first quarter. What is this, a children's basketball game where everybody gets in? This is you can't do that. You cannot do that. This isn't everybody gets off the bench and gets playing time. You're supposed to shorten the rotations a bit. For 11 Pacers to play in the first quarter, I was pulling hair out of my head. So I was not happy with that. I was happy the Pacers went to your top players in the fourth quarter. We talked about it. It worked.
Bro, I'm dying over here. 11 players in the first quarter that is just malpractice. What are you doing? Jarris Walker should probably not play ever again in this series.
Can we talk about his 3-point shots? The man was, I want to give him credit first.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
he was hitting threes left and right in like March and April. He's shooting like 60% over like a 7-game span. He airballed a 3 and he absolutely bricked another 3 and just does not look like the stage actually looks a little bit too big for him right now. And I don't know if we need to see Jarris Walker in the next game. It's not meant to be disrespect or anything. This is the playoffs and you do need to shorten these rotations.
Yeah, Indiana outscored Cleveland 36-21 in the fourth quarter. They outscored them by 15 points. And I'm just scrolling down here, and I started laughing, Facci. It says time leading, Cavaliers 11 minutes and 58 seconds, Pacers 1 second. It's just, they basically led for like 6 minutes total in this game, I think. I mean, and it's like, most of it was early on, right? I'm going to go and tell you the numbers here. Exactly. Yeah. The Pacers, okay, that's even worse. The Pacers led for 3 minutes and 29 seconds in this game. They won the game by 1 point.
Insane.
It literally kind of felt like what we saw last night between Denver and OKC. Denver just found a way to come back and win. Aaron Gordon with the game winner. Shout out Aaron Gordon. I know he's been going through a lot, but really, if you look at what the Pacers were able to do, despite what happened in that first quarter, they outplayed the Cavs. And really, quarters 2, 3, and 4. Now, in the third quarter, they had 37 points, and I felt like Indiana really struggled to start things out there. And I even told somebody, like, I don't think we're going to see what happened against the Bucks. You might want to go to bed on this one. And so this is a guy from my work that was texting me. He actually turned the game off after Siakam missed the first free throw. So I actually thanked him because he turned the game off earlier against the Bucks when the Pacers were down by 7. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe you should just turn the game off when it's getting a little bit close there, with time still up to spare. But honestly, like, just an incredible game from so many different players. And, you know, I feel like I mentioned Mathurin. I want to give him credit because in the first half, he had a rough first half, was not really playing great, didn't really have much of an impact. I felt like defensively, there was some just bad decisions there. But this is why I think when I say Ben Mathurin needs to play with better players, he elevates his game when he plays with guys that actually make sense with how he wants to play. Like when you're saying, oh, go out there with Obi and Thomas Bryant and Ben Shepherd and T.J. McConnell, like he cannot perform at the same level as he can when there's attention to so many other players out there on the court that are actually starter level players. So I just think that it was really smart of Rick to reward Ben for his efforts in the third quarter and allow that to be carried over into the fourth. And I love it. He was getting chippy out there talking with Donovan Mitchell. I'm sure you saw that after Mitchell had that big, Mathurin fouled him pretty hard. Mitchell let him know about it. And Mathurin goes, okay, that's how it's going to be. And he tried to score on him the next play and missed it. But I just love the competitiveness. And I felt like he was awesome in this game. But other than Mathurin, anybody else you want to bring up right now? Because there's a lot of ways we can go here.
Yeah, just quickly on Mathurin, I mentioned last recap, I said Mathurin's due for one of those like 18-point games. That was the exact thing I said, 18. He gave us 19, even better. I guess I underestimated him. And Mathurin, he loves a good chip on the shoulder. He probably, if he would have heard that, would have said, I'm only good for 18, I'll give you 19. And that's what he did. So great performance. He was a +8 off the bench. He was the only Pacer that had a positive plus-minus. I thought the bench was really rough at times. We saw some rough T.J. McConnell minutes. He was a -15 in this game. And Ben Shepherd's another guy that I just feel like right now, there was a moment in this game where Ben Shepherd had a wide-open 3, and he passed it to T.J. McConnell, who had an even more wide-open 3, and McConnell missed it. And I went, wow, those are two guys right now that, like, I just don't have much confidence in from three-point land. Like, Shepherd, obviously a much better three-point shooter than T.J. McConnell, but he's had his struggles. So I feel like this was a game where Mathurin absolutely saved the bench tonight. He gives you 19 points in 20 minutes. So very efficient, 6 of 10, gets to the free throw line, goes 6 of 6 in the game. Now, when we're talking about free throws, I mean, look what happened for Cleveland. They missed 5 free throws. You lose the game by 1. Some of those free throws missed came late from Donovan Mitchell. So, the Pacers, he was gassed. He was gassed. And obviously it didn't help some of the contact injuries like Nesmith dunking on him. And then when he collided with Aaron Nesmith, that felt like, on the offensive foul, like you could just tell he was hobbled, tired. Jared Allen was tired as well. Those were guys that, obviously, the loss of no Mobley, no Darius Garland, no DeAndre Hunter had those guys just absolutely just exhausted towards the end of the game. And that's where Indiana's, depth does come, into handy. For the most part, no one played more than 36 minutes on the Pacers. You had some guys playing 38 minutes or more, 39 minutes for Cleveland. But from the bench, like I mentioned, Mathurin was the guy. And then obviously we talked about, what we got out of Haliburton late. But shout out to Miles Turner, who I feel like for a lot of
massive game
was huge. Turner was big in this game. I know he had 23 points, but like there was even a bunch of baskets that were so close to going in around the rim. Turner almost had like a 30-point night, and we really needed him, especially early on in like that second, third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't him making the most timely buckets, but he made them in bunches. And I think at times it was very hard to get bunches of points. It was very inconsistent. You'd get a Nesmith 3, then you'd have 3 misses in a row, and you could just never get consistency. But the Pacers started to find some consistency there with Miles. I think he had 11 points in that second quarter, Facci. So it just kind of shows you like where he was impacting the game at times. And you bring up a good point. Jared Allen was getting tired. You can kind of utilize Miles and that way to get some open looks. But yeah, I was like semi-frustrated with Miles at the end of the fourth when he had 3 bunnies that he missed right around the rim. And I was like, man, like some of these shots could have been just like major stepping stones to the next big play. But man, I'll just say this. Like if this was a 47-minute game, Cavaliers are going back to Indiana tied 1-1, but it's a 48-minute game, and that's why you got to play all 48 minutes. And if we've learned anything about this Pacers team, you never give up on this team.
Can't.
You have to believe. I mean, there is something so magical about this team. And real quick, shout out. I want to shout out Casey Johnson here, who just put this in a Twitter comment. Rick Carlisle ties Larry Bird for the most playoff wins in Indiana Pacers history tonight with this win. Cool. So pretty special for him. But yeah, I mean, we've seen, Miles Turner say believe, right? And then Jeremiah Johnson will tweet it, believe, right? I don't know what to tell you, but we were in believe land tonight. Mm-hmm. And we weren't believing in the Cavs. We were believing in the Pacers.
I bought my ticket. I was ready. Hey, I'm believing tonight. I wanna see a show, and I did. And look, whether you're on Twitter or you're in the BCC group chat, like we saw people get down and negative. All right, this isn't our night. Oh my God, we blew it. This and what's Carlisle's rotations like? How could you do this? Because we all care. We care and we love this team, and it's a magical place right now on social media if you're a Pacer fan, because it's like we are talking about.
If you're a Pacer fan, I like.
You're a Pacer fan. I got to preface that. I'm seeing a lot of depressed Cavs fans. You interact with 1 or 2 tweets, all of a sudden messes with the algorithm. So they are bummed out, and I'm sorry, guys. It's tough because for the Cavs, it's now 2 years in a row that they've been injured in the playoffs, and it's rough because Indiana, they're looking real good at home, and to go up 2-0, I don't think there's anyone, I don't care who you are, I don't think there is anyone that predicted that the Pacers would win both games in Cleveland to start. We were saying if we can split, that might be all we need to go back to Indiana. And right now, this Pacers team, I feel like first I went from, maybe they needed that loss to be humbled and come out in game 3 ready to rock. Now I feel like they have that confidence to say, we just took a really good punch from Cleveland and we kept punching back. They held the Cavs to 5 of 18 shooting in that fourth quarter when it was step up or shut up, and the Pacers stepped up.
Yeah, I felt like I was riding a high, right? When the Pacers had beat the Bucks in 5 and the way they did it, and I felt like, am I crazy to think the Pacers can beat this Cavs team? Nobody really knew how injured they were going to be, right?
No idea.
Obviously Darius Garland's situation seems a lot worse than it actually is. Just the fact that he's got that left toe sprain. Like, yeah, I deal with foot pain on the regular with just like plantar fascia and different things like that. Like it hurts, and I'm not playing basketball at a full level speed, especially against a Pacers team that could play like this. But I don't know if you listen to the Hoop Collective or not, but Brian Windhorst on the Hoop Collective after the Pacers won on Sunday night said the Cavaliers have been weary of the Pacers all second half of the season. They were kind of looking over their shoulder at the standings and saw that the Pistons and the Bucks were kind of right around there, and they were hoping that would be the case. They knew that if Indiana got into that 4 seed, it was going to be a much tougher matchup because of how Indiana matches up with them. Look, Nekias Duncan's been tweeting the Pacers record since 2025. 40-15 are the Indiana Pacers since 2025. Look, the Cavaliers have now had more playoff losses this season than the Pacers right now as we're speaking. So, look, I'll say it again. Anybody ever wants to ask me again if I want the Celtics or the Cavs? This is why I said the Cavs. No disrespect, not trying to get ahead of myself here because the series still is far from over. Cavs can get healthy. They can get back on Friday night. They can win 2 in Indiana. There's no doubt about it. We've seen Donovan Mitchell have some big nights there and beat the Pacers on their home court. But let's be honest, this Pacers team, they're at a different level right now. And I just have I got a crazy amount of belief in them. And I know I just make it like a silly thing about believing in them. I was just being funny, but they're just right there, Facci, just telling you, believe in us. We are ready to take you to the next level, and they're doing it. They really are. So it's just, I don't know how you can not think that this Pacers team is on the same level as the Cavaliers.
There is something special about this Pacers team. I'm saying it right now, and I know a lot of us are probably thinking it. I think we are going to look back on this team for years and years and say, man, that was a fun group that had chemistry and loved playing with each other. I think we are going to look back at this team the same way that we look back at those Pacers teams that made back-to-back conference finals over a decade ago, because there was something about that group where they got to play together for a couple of years and they grew together and they overcame challenges. They went from being out of the playoffs to then in the playoffs and then going on a run. This team has it. And I feel the way about, I know injuries are injuries, but the same way I feel about Cleveland is kind of how I feel about OKC. Until you have been there and made a real run, I'm 1 foot in and 1 foot out if I really trust you. And you look at how OKC lost that game. Chet Holmgren missing free throws left the door open for Aaron Gordon to hit a big shot. The Denver Nuggets, a team that's been there, won a championship. No, the Pacers have not won a championship, but they just went to the conference finals last year. In this game, down the stretch, there was missed free throws from Donovan Mitchell in the last couple minutes. He missed like one or two, in the fourth quarter. There was the turnover from Max Strus. There was the offensive foul. Like, they had those timely mistakes where Indiana, on the other hand, made timely plays. And for right now, I just feel like this was a great regular season for Cleveland. Like I said last time, that doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares what you did in the regular season. Are you battle tested? That is exactly why, and I know that I'm not comparing us to the Warriors, but you saw the Warriors made plays late, and they closed out a Houston Rockets team that had a very good regular season. I think that like right now, Indiana went through the growing pains last year. They're a really good team that is now showing that they've grown from mistakes that they made last year. The moment isn't too big for them. They're not dropping back-to-back games. It's not that they win a big game, then they come down the next game and they lose it. Like, this is a team that's stringing together consistency. They're closing teams out, or they're finding ways to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and pull out wins.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Facci. And I can't say enough great things about this team. And I want to just move over quickly to Pascal Siakam's game. We need to bring it up. It's not very fun to talk about this game with Pascal Siakam. He was rough.
Yeah.
Zach Lowe's tweeting about it. He had eight shots, 10 points, and the Pacers still win this game.
Unbelievable.
Pascal Siakam looked like he was not even out there.
In the first half, he had 2 shots at halftime, and I think he was 2 for 2. It was like, come on, Siakam, because we felt that he wasn't really involved much after the first quarter of last game. So now it's like, you got no Evan Mobley out there. You thought he'd be able to take a little bit more advantage of this type of situation, but whatever it is, to go up 2-0, and Pascal Siakam is averaging, far below his regular season averages. He's averaging like 14 points through 2 games. You got to feel good that he's due for a breakout. So he's averaging 14 and a half points, 7 boards, and he had 8 shots. At least he had 15 in game 1, just 8 shots tonight. It's like, I want to see them get him involved, because if Siakam can be the man that we saw basically through 82 games, that he played 80 games, Pacers are going to be more than all right.
No, I totally agree. I'm laughing here. The Pacers just shared this graphic from ESPN's win probability. 98.1% for the Cavs to win at 98 to 81 at 119, 112, and 95.9% probability the Cavs win into the game. 100% Pacers. It really is just unthinkable. Like, it's unimaginable. I mean, you can't believe it, but yeah, Siakam, he's got to be better. And it's 29 minutes for him, basically 30 minutes play, 29 minutes and 45 seconds. 12 points. I said 10, sorry. 12 points on, just some shooting, 8 shots. He just wasn't hitting his free throws either, 2 of 5. Like, this is just a guy that has to be better. And if you win this round and Pascal's just okay, like, you feel good about it, but like, he's got to be better each round you go into. And they did a good job, I think Cleveland did. I think we should just take a second here to talk about what Cleveland did in this game. because I thought they came out and punched Indiana in the mouth early on. They played with a ton of force. And, I mean, Andrew Nembhard, 8 turnovers in this game, Facci. 8 alone from Nembhard. And some of them were not even bad passes. They were just travels or stupid things that he was doing. And it was just like he just couldn't get out of his own way. He was 0-4 from 3. And that is just not like him in the playoffs. And I felt like he was going to finally get one to go. But we've been talking so much about his three-point shot recently. I've been tweeting about it a lot. People have been asking him about it. So I feel like after you have a hot game like that where you go 5 of 6, you're going to come back and find water find its level. But I mean, still, that's 50% out of the last 2 games. So I think you live with it if you're Nembhard. But I just felt like Donovan Mitchell, the way he was able to get to the basket, I think he ended up having like 16 or 18 drawn fouls in this game. Just it would constantly put pressure on the Pacers, and they were always on their heels backing up. I really thought the dagger was when they let Max Strus get open for 3.
That crushed me. It crushed me. I there was something that like came out of my body at that point. I felt like my spirit flew out. I was like, that's it. It's over. And we had a couple of those moments in the game, but that 3 felt like such a dagger.
It really did.
Everything we were, if the Pacers lost this game, the story, everything we were talking about was going to be completely different.
What would have been the story if they lost this game? What would you have come in here and said?
That Donovan Mitchell got to the free throw line a lot, and he just destroyed us in the paint. I felt like Donovan Mitchell did so much work in the paint. He's been a brutal 3-point shooter in this series so far, but he went 1 of 11 in game 1 from 3 and 1 of 7 in game 2 from 3. But what he did in the paint was just nonstop. Getting how many and ones did Donovan Mitchell have in this? I track. It was 4 or 5.
Well, there were so many phantom fouls too. Let's be honest here.
Yes, that whistle was a little on the sketchier side tonight.
Well, kudos to Kenny Atkinson for fighting for his guys, because obviously he has vocalized in media sessions multiple times his disdain with the way the game was officiated in game 1. And so, Carlisle even addressed it. I thought Carlisle had a classy response. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter or not, but Carlisle did respond pregame about that and just said, yeah, I mean, we saw that they submitted players to the league. You have to submit them to both the team and the league when you do submit them. He said, and I'm not going to tell you the amount of calls we submitted during the first round against the Bucks, and we just felt weren't fair calls, but we're just trying to get clarity on stuff. And he said he's fighting for his guys, and I don't have any problem with that. I felt like you could feel that in this game. Donovan Mitchell, a superstar, the Cavs, the number 1 seed at home, their head coach who just won Coach of the Year. Like let's just be honest, they kind of ran on his parade of getting Coach of the Year today by losing that game by 1 point, like just a gut wrenching loss. And so I just felt like the referees were giving Donovan Mitchell more credit for just his ability to get to the rim versus was he really getting fouled. And sometimes he wasn't even really looking for a shot. He was just trying to get some contact in there because he couldn't hit from outside. I think he was 1 of 6 from 3 tonight.
7.
1 of 7. He was 1 of 6 when I checked, and he was 1 of 11 last game. So he's 2 of 18.
2 of 18.
Yeah, 2 of 18. I was thinking, is it 6 or 7? 2 of 18 in 2 games. That's terrible shooting. So he's found ways. I mean, obviously, like a terrific game from him. Like he did everything he could to will this team that was just beat up to get to that point. But yeah, I felt like they were just the aggressors. They put Indiana on their heels, and we go back to that Max Strus play. Like, let's just talk about that for a second, because they finally double team Mitchell to try to get the ball out of his hands. And Nembhard, I understand why he did it. Okoro is the next pass, right at the 3-point line. He steps up to him instead of going over to Strus, who has been hitting everything in this game. I think you basically just let Turner decide if he wants to guard Okoro or Allen for a 2, and you don't let Strus get a 3. But that's stuff you can go back and watch on film and say, okay, here's what we want to do the next time they do this trap. So I just think Indiana, they needed to take advantage of this. And what I was going to say, if I were to come in here and the Pacers would have lost this game, I had this one-liner in my head for a while, so I'm just going to say it now. A good team splits these 2 games. A great team wins both.
I think it's a good liner, right? One liner right there, because I think it's true. I felt coming into this, we thought the Pacers could be good enough to split. What they showed us is this team's great right now. They really are. They're deep. They got guys that are not afraid of big moments, but it was Cleveland early on that played way harder than the Pacers, way harder. That first quarter was probably the worst first quarter we've seen in the playoffs so far. They had a really bad first quarter against the Bucks when they ended up having, that comeback. But I mean, they were outscored 32-15. I felt like Cleveland was just outworking them. The turnovers right now for Indiana have been insane. Another 17 turnovers. There was at one point Indiana had more turnovers than assists. Pretty deep into this game. They ended up finishing with 17 turnovers and 28 assists. So obviously you could see in the second half things got better. But man, I felt like Cleveland gave a really good effort. Dean Wade played some really good defense at times on Tyrese Haliburton, made things difficult. I felt like Haliburton wasn't even able to look for a shot in the first half. Haliburton and Siakam just felt like they were almost kind of like role players, early on, where they we mentioned it. Siakam had 2 shots, Haliburton only a couple. I think Haliburton had like 3 shots or maybe 4 by halftime. I think he was like 3 or 4. But it was, Donovan Mitchell was the guy that knew that he had to shoulder the load tonight with, 3 of their top 4 or 5 players out. And he did that. He gives you 48 points. And for you to overcome a near 50 burger makes you feel like, okay, you know what? What does Donovan Mitchell have to do next? Is he going to have to go up for 60 or anything of this sort? Like, I don't know. I just feel like this is the type of win when I see the Pacers celebrating at midcourt together, like they're building like memories and chemistry that is just bringing this team closer and closer and closer. And like, that's hard to overcome. Like, you're seeing teams now plug guys against the Pacers. We're moving from the bench into the starting lineup. Ty Jerome goes into the starting lineup, 1 of 14 tonight.
Ty Jerome has almost been the best player on the Pacers these first 2 seasons.
He's getting up a lot of shots. I mean, how many shots has he had now? 34 shots in 2 games, I think it is. This is a lot.
I think he had 21 points on 20 shots last game. So
yeah, you're talking about 34 shots now, and it's not good. I think he's like 9 of 34.
Then he fouled Haliburton there on the drive. I mean, he pushed him in the bag. He can't guard anybody. I mean, this is what I was talking about when I was like, did the Cavs make the right trade for DeAndre Hunter, right? Because DeAndre Hunter has not been a guy as a starter, right? He's been a guy that was like okay as a starter, but he goes to the bench for the Hawks and starts having this resurgence of a career, and all of a sudden I'm like, is he going to go to the Cavs and just like lift them up to like what he's being off the bench for the Hawks? Like, I just don't know if that's going to work. And I think that's kind of where I like land with Ty Jerome just a little bit. And I'm not trying to discredit him, like great regular season. But there's a reason why this guy was a journeyman for so long, right? And I give him a lot of credit for where he's at now, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to him as a person or anybody listening that's a Cavs fan, because I'm trying to be fair. But just like, you kind of have to know your limits. And I think they're asking Ty Jerome, because they kind of have to by necessity, to step out of his limits and be somebody that he's really not. And so he's had some great games this year. I know people love the way that he's played. And I mean, honestly, like there's a reason why he was third in third in votes for 6th man of the year. But just like, this is where you need guys that are just a little bit more capable than him as a player. And I think Indiana was able to get away with having a guy like Tyrese or a guy like Aaron Nesmith, not having to guard him as closely, because everything was Donovan Mitchell. It was just too Donovan Mitchell heavy. And you could just tell every time Donovan Mitchell went to the free throw line, the amount of deep breaths that he took, like he was literally taking 10 seconds like Giannis, because he's just trying to catch his breath. And so I kind of get why Giannis does it now, because he's just exhausted from how much,
shoulder the load.
It is. And like, especially against this Pacers team, even when they don't play super fast for like a couple of quarters, when they're able to turn it on, it is just tough. And it's like, you can't count this team out. And we've seen this team time and time again win all these stupid games that they probably shouldn't have won. We're thinking to ourselves, how are they going to pull this off in the playoffs? And they just do. It's like they just have some like magic in their hands when they shoot the ball. It's like, make me like Mike. They're drinking the secret stuff from Mike, Mike. So it's like, I don't really know what to say about the Cavaliers right now, because it's really hard to dissect them as a team, because they've been beat up in these first 2 games. We haven't seen Garland healthy. And if he comes back and they get everybody back for game 3, it's a 5-game series now. First one to win 4 games. Okay. And the Pacers will have to win 2. Pacers will have to win 2 of those.
Yeah, and the fact that you have 3 home games, unbelievable. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this shovel down, and I'm going to tell you what I just dug up. All right, I got a couple stats for you right now. Playoff records when trailing by 7 points with less than a minute and a half to go. In 2025, the Indiana Pacers are 2-0. Every other team in the last 20 years is 1 and 384. All right, what the Pacers are doing right now is out of this world, historic. This is not something you are going to see again. These are the comeback kids. And I got one more stat for you. Tyrese Haliburton is 10 of 11 on shots to tie or take the lead in the last 2 minutes this year. This man...
Say that again?
He's 10 of 11 on shots to tie or take the lead in the last 2 minutes this year.
10 of 11.
Insane.
He's missed one?
Insane. This is what we got.
Where did he miss the one at?
I don't know right now. What I do remember him doing is missing I think it was a clutch free throw against the 76ers in like the second game of the season. I remember that one. But he also did hit a really clutch shot to send it to overtime in that game. So, I definitely remember those. We'd have to look back and see where that miss was, but I just remember so many of the makes. So it's been awesome this year. I feel like this team has numerous guys that are clutch, but I want the ball in Tyrese Haliburton's hands when the game is on the line. What he's doing is now becoming muscle memory. It's like he's quickly just retreating, taking step back threes, and they're wet. These are splashing down. So I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. I am on cloud nine, and I will tell you, the pep in the step.
Finally.
When you go up 2-0 and you're going back home to try and close out Cleveland. Now that's the pep. That hits differently on that midweek hump, that Wednesday when you're trying to coast through the week. That's the type of pep that you want in the step. Man, I'm fired up right now.
Bro, I was waiting. We were so deep in the podcast, and I was like, I got to bring this up. I was trying to let you do it naturally.
It felt as natural as could be because I was just getting more hyped as we were just talking about this. I love this team.
I love this team.
I love them.
I got a coach playing rotations like we're doing kids basketball. I mean, David said it in the group chat, you're going to be unhinged tonight. And I think you've been a little bit reserved. I'm surprised.
Hey, you know what? It didn't
it's
take
not that late.
No, it's absolutely not. And I tell you one thing, it's going to be hard to sleep after this. The way the Pacers have been hitting some of these wins, I crawl into bed because my wife's already sleeping, and I feel like I'm just like laying in a coffin. I'm trying to be like, as still as could be, but my heart's pounding because it's just, wow, what did I just witness right now? And I'm telling you, I said it earlier in this episode, we will look back on this team and these memories and just be like, what a run. And as we're living in the moment, I don't want this run to come to an end at any point. I don't want to read too far into the Knicks being up 1-0 against the Celtics, but like the stars are aligning that anything could happen right now. Anything could happen. We could see Timberwolves versus Nuggets, in the conference finals. That's a possibility. What if the Warriors win? What if the Knicks do take down the Celtics? Like we played the Celtics good in the regular season. We beat them. We played them well last year in the playoffs. I just feel like right now, anything can happen in the NBA, and that's really fun when you think about a couple years ago when it was the Warriors or Cleveland just about every year.
The first 4 road games that have been played in the second round of the NBA playoffs have all been victories for the road team. So
crazy stuff.
I should say all the playoff games that have been played have been won by the road team, not all road games. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the way that the Nuggets came back and won that game was unreal. The way that the Celtics choked that one against the Knicks. I'm sure your Knicks friends were definitely let you hear about that after the Celtics meltdown and overtime last night. And so we'll see if the Warriors can play spoiler here, or if the Timberwolves can play spoiler here and get a home win. But like, it's just hard to really tell because I feel like, when did we see this last? I think I saw a stat that said 2023 was the first time we've seen the road team win 2 games to start a series in the second round.
You would have thought it was a lot, like a lot longer ago, but it's just been pretty upsets. And I think that some of these teams you see, like a Cleveland just dismantles Miami. They're not even battle tested. OKC runs through Memphis, not even tested. And then for some of the other teams that did have those struggles, the Denver Nuggets coming off of a 7-game series, the Knicks were in a highly contested series. It's like they come and they're just able to dig a little bit deeper and make those type of plays. And, we mentioned before, Cleveland rested guys down the stretch in the regular season. The Pacers were still playing, trying to do everything they can to lock up home court. And, they've gotten their bodies ready to play into June. This team, knock on wood, look, the injuries that they had were very early on. You're not trying to replace anyone. Like, this Pacers team is relatively healthy, and we couldn't be happier for that because we talked about best ability is availability, and right now the Pacers have been available.
Let me ask you this. Tyrese Haliburton in-season tournament run was unreal. He was averaging ungodly numbers.
Yeah.
Tyrese Haliburton right now, who's the better player?
It's like a different Tyrese. This is like a more mature, can dig deep, get the job done Tyrese. Is he putting up, 30, 35 points or not? No, he's not. But I just feel like the plays that he's making right now is like he's like a smarter player, I would say. So I think that we saw Tyrese hit different levels offensively, but right now, like this is just like a winner Tyrese. And hey, I love what I'm seeing right now.
I think I'm going to say this version of Tyrese because he's seeing way better defense than he was during the in-season tournament. He's playing at a higher, in a much, much more competitive level of basketball than that little run to the in-season tournament. While we loved it as Pacer fans, let's be real. That doesn't even come close to the high level that it takes to win in the playoffs. And the fact that he is defending his butt off, Facci, that can't be unnoticed. Like there's been times where he's been switched on to people and he's been able to hold his own better in game 1 than game 2. I'll be honest with you there for that reason. But I thought the trap that he had on Mitchell was great. It just led to an open Struz 3. I talked about that, but still, I mean, it was a very good trap. He's so long and he can use that 6'5" size. And I'm not sure what his actual wingspan is. I haven't looked that up before, but he's a very lanky guy when you see him in person. Like he is skinny, but he's lanky. And so he can wreak havoc. And so I just think that he's a mature player now. And that was a breakout player that we saw in a short stretch, but we've been seeing this Tyrese really probably since January and maybe even mid-December after they kind of turned things around. But he's been doing this for a long stretch. He's had some ups and downs, but still he is just unreal with his ability to hit big shots. And so you cannot say enough great things about Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton, I mean, let's be honest, what we're doing right now is what would have happened 25, 30 years ago when Reggie Miller was hitting these shots in the Garden and podcasts were still around. We're getting to see the modern day, you mentioned it earlier, but we're getting to basically see the modern day Reggie Miller with a totally different era of basketball. Just imagine if Reggie and Tyrese got to play together on the same team. That would be one of the most fun, insane Pacer teams of all time.
It really would. It really would. And doesn't it feel like a lifetime ago where Tyrese had tears in his eyes and he said he didn't know what was wrong and he didn't know what was going on with him and he's trying to find us. That to me feels like it wasn't even this season. And that was early on in the year when people were saying like, what's going on with this guy? Like, well, it's been that long. It really has. It's been that long of a season. I'm saying like, because what we're seeing now, it's like you forget like, oh yeah, that wasn't the beginning of the year because he's been consistently really good now for I'd say 5 months of like looking like Tyrese. And I felt like when he hit that first shot tonight, I always feel like, hey, he hits his first shot, he's going to be really good. And then you just kind of stop shooting. But it was like when he needed to be that guy and he needed to step up, he was that guy. And it just shows like, man, I just hope he can do it a little bit more earlier on because when he gets out to an aggressive start like that, the Pacers are just such a better team. And he ends up with 19, so it doesn't qualify for that stat where he scores 20 or more. But when he's in this vicinity, the Pacers are just such a great team. And this wasn't his typical game. Just 4 assists. Like, they really did do a good job of kind of taking Tyrese out of the picture. It was Andrew Nembhard who had 13 assists in this game. He had 13 and 13, but Indiana found a way. Tyrese made the plays down the stretch. Everybody contributed. We talked about Nembhard with the steal, Nesmith with the putback dunk and causing an offensive foul, drawing that. Turner had the baskets here and there. Siakam had some. It's like everyone contributed of your top main players. Mathurin, like when you look at the top 6 on this team, everybody was big tonight of that top 6 at times. Obviously, Siakam's going to be Siakam. We'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, when you get 23 from Turner and Nesmith, I mean, that's pretty special. I mean, you're not going to see that every time, but like those guys are dogs. And like the playoff experience they got last year, everyone kind of just chalked it up as they beat injured teams. They didn't really prove anything, and everyone tried to deem them as the 2021 Atlanta Hawks. And we've just kind of heard the disrespect from a lot of people. Like I even heard Kendrick Perkins after game 1 just like go on this long rant about how the Cavs are in trouble now. It's like he changed his mind completely. Yeah. He'd been saying things all season long about how Tyrese Haliburton's a fraud and
exactly
back in my day, just Kendrick Perkins just being dumb. That dude flips like a fish out of water. He flips more than a fish out of water. Anyway, I digress. You know how it is. The disrespect. Everybody on ESPN picked the Cavaliers to win this. And look, and if they would have known the injury situation, maybe they would have picked the Pacers to win. I mean, maybe somebody would have. But I mean, look, they won 64 games. I keep saying that, but it's like this is a great Cavs team. They had a great regular season, but it doesn't mean anything unless you win in the playoffs. And the Pacers are playing just as good as basketball as the Cleveland Cavaliers are. And some could even say they're playing better, but that might be a little bit hyperbole because the Pacers are up 2-0 in this series now. But look, they still got to win 2 games. The job's not done. They've got 50% of the job done. They still have to finish the other 50% because if you give the Cavs life, it's very similar to what could have happened with Milwaukee. If you give Milwaukee a little bit of life, now it's 3-2 going back to Milwaukee. What could have happened there? You just never know. And so I just say this, as we kind of get ready to close things out here with our player awards. It shows you the maturation of this team, and people don't understand fully how hard it is for young players to develop. Jarris Walker did not get real playoff rotation minutes last year. Ben Mathurin really didn't either. Ben Mathurin's just a gamer. Jarris Walker to me is I'm trying not to mess up. You can kind of feel that when he's out there on the court and he's playing scared. And scared money's, broke money, whatever. I don't know what the saying is, but you know what scared money that's saying. So
scared money don't make no money.
Thank you. I'm all over the place. I'm tired tonight and my heart rate's just through the roof still from this game.
We talked about it earlier, but the threes that Jarris took today just looked like a guy that was nervous. We complimented him so many times on how good his 3-point shot looked for so long. And tonight it just looked like a guy that was just scared to mess up. So I feel like, Indiana's trying to tiptoe that line. They're still trying to get Ben Shepherd minutes, and it's at times I don't know. I don't know. You might have to reduce some of those minutes a little bit. You want Mathurin to play more than just 17 to 20 minutes. I think on a night like tonight, it's hey, he deserved it. So overall, I just feel hey, great win. I do hope that the media does change the way that they talk about this Pacers team and start to really take notice, because I know that over the last 2 wins, especially right after this one, I had people texting me that I have not heard from so long that said that was crazy. That was nuts. That's because they don't get to watch us enough. We're not on national television anywhere near as much as some of the other teams. But when people do watch us, they're impressed. And right now, I just hope it's not what do the Cavs have to do to make a comeback in the series, and maybe it's what do the Pacers have to do to close out Cleveland? Change the narrative just a little bit. And if they don't, whatever. We're going to be all right, because this is how it's been for years and years and years. And we're just better as the underdogs, and I'm fine. I don't want to get too cocky of it, but I do want this team to have confidence, knowing go to Indy, don't pack any bags. Let's close them out in Indiana. I don't want to say it, but I couldn't even imagine a world where the Pacers, close it out over the next 2 games. I know I'm dreaming here, but man, it would be great if you could see Boston and New York have a dogfight in a 6 or 7 game series. And maybe if Indiana can get a little bit of rest, whatever it is, hey, let's take it 1 game at a time. Let's just finish the job no matter how many games it takes.
Yeah, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. There's still plenty left to come. And look, you're going to be back here tomorrow without me.
Well,
doing a little preview with Bob Schmidt. And look, Bob Schmidt owes us a parody song if the Cavaliers lose this series. And he even said it on his podcast. He said, I kind of said it tongue-in-cheek because I'm pretty sure the Cavs are going to win this series. I mean, he was confident. He came in here with a smooth, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Cavs 5. Yeah, I mean, you heard that.
Us 1. I'll throw you a game. You guys will probably, whatever. You knock yourself out, get 1. But in this scenario, it's no, Bob. You better hope you get 1. All right? Because look, we mean business right now. And man, hey, guys, we don't have a game for a little bit. So it's going to be, it ain't going to be in every other game for a little bit. The next game is not till Friday. So we got to try and control our emotions a bit. But what that means is we get to coast off this win for just a little bit longer. And to us, that feels good. That means it ain't going to be no drama. Wednesday night. Ain't going to be no drama on Thursday night, but be ready to come back to Indiana. And if you have an opportunity to be at that game, give it everything you got, because the Pacers have been feeding off of that crowd. And if that crowd is wild in Game 3, it's going to be a hard place for Cleveland to get any momentum.
Absolutely, Facci. And I will say this for Game 3, do not forget we are doing a ticket giveaway here with the Chat BCC group chat. We mentioned that at the beginning of this episode in our opening, but just wanted to let everybody know that if you have not entered, please enter the group chat, refer a friend. There's a little section there where you can comment and tell us why we should pick you to win these tickets for Game 3. I think it's pretty obvious why you should want to go to this game and get some free tickets, and the tickets are in a good spot, so they're not up in the balcony, anything like that. They're good tickets. So if you want that, make sure you do join the group chat. Make sure you're following Facci and I on social media, on Twitter specifically, and follow us with a retweet. We want to hit us with a retweet so we can get this word out here about Chat BCC. But look, Facci, just kind of to wrap it up here, like I said before we get to our awards, Jamal Collier from ESPN put this out. Since 1997 to 1998, teams are 3 and 1,640 when trailing by 7+ points in the final minute of the fourth quarter overtime. The Pacers this postseason have 2 of those wins. We already knew about the 1609 and then being the 1 and 1609 after the Bucks game. I want to say the other team is probably the Denver Nuggets with their comeback last night against the Thunder, and then the Pacers again with their comeback against the Cavs in this one. So player awards, let's dive into it right away. We're going to start off with our Mel Daniels MVP of the game. Tough one to give it to here, but who are you going with?
This is really tough. This is tough because I think Turner carried the load for a while, and I think it's you could very well give it to Turner, but I mean, yeah, maybe I give it to Turner. What do you think?
Why Turner over Nesmith?
Well, it's tough. That's where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So maybe you go.
I'll tell you why. It's pretty obvious.
The plays down the stretch.
Plus 15, Miles Turner. -2 for Aaron Nesmith.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I just felt like Turner made some big baskets at times. The 5 blocks. I mean, I just feel like there's so many times that Miles gets overshadowed, and I just felt like there was, for most of the game, I remember Turner had there was a moment where he had 18 and no one else was even close. And I was like, man, I don't know. If Turner's the only guy that goes off, probably not going to win this game. And I felt like he carried the load, had 19 points going into the fourth quarter, and then everybody else picked up the slack. So Turner, great game.
Yeah, the only thing I don't want to give him the MVP for is because he did not try to block Max Strus' dunk when he had 10 seconds to block it.
Yeah, that was rough. And who else? Donovan Mitchell slammed it on him. Was that?
That was on Siakam. It was Jared Allen who had the other one.
That was I remember one that he got really dunked on. I was like, ooh.
That was Max Strus. He just watched him, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I know Max Strus has probably got some sneaky hops that people don't realize that he has. This guy's got a quick trigger 2 from 3. This guy was playing great tonight. Let's be honest. But the fact that Turner did not get up there and even try to block it, because I mean, at that point, you're just letting the Cavs get so much momentum, and if you get a block like that can change the momentum of the game. I was disappointed he didn't block it, but that is my only nitpick. And the 3 little bunnies he missed at the end of the fourth with Turner. Everything else though was really pretty solid from him. So I'll give him that, and shot 40% from 3 as well. Our Feisty Foster, Jeff Foster, Feisty Foster player of the game, got to be Aaron Nesmith for this.
Yes, Aaron Nesmith. I just feel like, man, Feisty is making that play on the ball and that putback dunk. Unreal. We lose this game without it. We lose the game without that. And
every single play had to play out exactly the way that it did.
It had to. If one of them doesn't, if we don't get that rebound, okay, the game's over. If he doesn't force that offensive foul on Donovan Mitchell, game's over. He made the putback dunk and then forced the offensive foul in 2 seconds went by in between those. Those were huge plays. It was very feisty by Nesmith.
I would totally agree. I can't get over Aaron Nesmith and what he did in this game. It was just the reason Tyrese Haliburton, like I said earlier, was able to make those plays. Now, let's get to our defensive player of the game. Do we want to give that one to Nesmith as well?
Yeah, you could give it to Nesmith. I just feel like it was tough because for most of the game, it felt like, Cleveland was just getting what they wanted at times, and it's hard to really shine. But I feel like Nesmith is just someone that continuously battled. And I know that it was frustrating to see Mitchell go to the line at times, but he was making them work for it, and I think that Nesmith is deserving.
Yeah, 3 blocks from Nesmith, 5 from Turner. I mean, these guys really just stepped up so much they could win all these awards. I feel bad that we don't have an award really for Ben Mathurin to give out tonight, but I want to say we could do our 6th man of the game and give that one to Mathurin because he deserves his flowers. I mean, let's be honest. It was rough early on for him, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, but just the way he closed things out in there in the 3rd and the 4th and was just a huge lift and allowed Nesmith not to have to play so much in the fourth quarter. And they even went small without Pascal for a little bit and went with Nesmith at the 4. I love that. I love seeing the Pacers do that. I love that versatility. So we'll give Ben Mathurin the 6th man of the game for this one. And then, of course, clutch player of the game, Reggie Miller, clutch player of the game. We might have to rename it to the Tyrese Haliburton clutch player of the game. That's who it is.
This is a landslide. It's definitely Haliburton. Like I already mentioned.
It's always Haliburton.
Always. 8 points in the final minute and 24 seconds of this game is just crazy. I mean, every time it's like, all right, all Cleveland needs to do is hit one shot and they'll probably win this out. Indiana just finds a way. I mean, to miss that second free throw, he got his own rebound. That's something that also gets lost in the shuffle.
I think Turner tipped it out, though.
I don't know. Whatever it was, I could have sworn
there's too much happening. My mind is just fried. I can't
there was a lot.
Let me go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I remember Haliburton coming down with that rebound rebound, and I just remember being like, so you're telling me he missed the free throw, got his own rebound, and then backpedaled and hit that step back 3 for the win? It's like, that is just crazy clutchness. And yep, just confirmed it. Tyrese did have the offensive rebound on that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was just saying I think Miles might have tipped it out to him. So kudos to Miles for being active there on the missed free throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the missed free throw worked out perfectly for the Pacers.
It did. And even that is like, imagine if the story was different. Where it's like, oh, Haliburton missed the free throw. Like, oh, you know what? Just wasn't our night. But it's like his missed free throw ended up being as clutch as could be to what it led to.
I mean, what if he makes it? They're only down by 1, then they foul the Cavs. Cavs go to the free throw line, make 2 free throws. Pacers miss a 3, they lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was like even some of the layups that he was having down the stretch was like, he made a layup, and my wife was like, "Why didn't he go for a 3?" I'm just like, "Babe, please, like we're alive, like we're fighting for our lives right now." Like,
I don't need to hear commentary.
It was just like any basket we can get right now, just like gives us a chance here, and he just kept converting and just getting fouled. Everything. It's like just amazing stuff.
I did tell my wife tonight. I said, "You're stressing me out."
Yeah.
I was like standing up watching the game. I was just like, I can't sit down. This is just too intense right now. Like they're just like, they're making this stupid comeback. They're about to do this thing. I cannot believe it. And here she is. Fletcher is just now starting to sleep in his crib. And so she's constantly got the monitor on and she's just watching him the whole time he's sleeping, right? She's just afraid that if he makes any moves, she's got to go in there and be super mom, right? Which is great. I love that she's so attentive to him. I'm happy that she's taking that load, shouldering that load while I'm trying to watch the game. But she's standing right behind me, watching the game, getting excited too, but she's got this monitor in her hand, and all I'm hearing is lullabies playing in the background during this game. Would you turn the sound off? He is 5 feet away from us in another room. We will hear him if he cries. This is totally, he's going to be okay. He's asleep. Just relax. She finally turns it off, and I'm like, oh, she was going nuts too. She was loving it. I mean, she said Pacers in 4 after the last one, and let's be honest, I didn't even tell you this today, Facci. What did I put on before I went to work today?
Tell me you got the lucky socks. You had them
lucky
on?
Socks, baby. I had to take them off to take a shower, but I had them on.
Honestly, just
all
shower
day long.
Them on next time. Just do what you gotta do. Look, I looked at this and I went to myself. There was like 2 minutes before the game. The jersey. I was like, I gotta go grab a jersey.
You didn't have it on the whole game?
What? I had it on the whole game, but I'm saying like right before the game.
Right before the game. Okay.
Up, like I almost it was like 6:58, whatever it was. I was like, God, I ran in the closet, threw one on. We're now, like I said, Pacers have won every time I've won a jersey. The one time that I forgot against the Bucks, we lost, and that's why I've made it a point of emphasis. I have to do what I can, play my part. You put your socks on. I'm gonna put my jersey on. If your friend needs to turn off the TV, and tune out, he's got to tune out. It's like everyone just keep it consistent with what's working, because we got something that's very successful right now, and we want to keep on playing basketball.
The only way I can end this episode, Facci, is by saying there's no better time than to be a Pacer fan. No cap.
No cap. No cap. All the
hit me again, baby.
Yeah, I mean, look, man.
Hit me again. I want to see it again. I love it.
No cap. Look, it's just, hey, I'm glad other people got a kick out of it. Look, I'm 2 kids will turn you into the ultra dad. It's just, I'm washed up, man. I can't keep up. I even said to my wife, I go, babe, have you ever heard the term nails? And it's not like she's the most hip person out there, but she agreed. She was not up to date. So
Tyrese Haliburton, guess what he is?
He is nails. If that's what the kids say, I'm going to call him that too. Hopefully I'm using it right. And, man, what a time to be a fan.
Oh man, I'm having too much fun. I don't want to get off here because I'm just enjoying the vibe you're giving off this podcast.
Damn.
But anyway, Facci, it's been a lot of fun. I think the fans probably want another pep in the step, but I'm not going to push you to do it. If you want to do it, it's up to you.
We'll have another one for next time. You'll have to stay tuned. You'll have to stay tuned, guys.
Okay.
Keep tuning in. Love the comments that we're getting on YouTube. We're making this a fun place. A lot of people are engaging. Just keep bringing that Pacer mania, because it is running wild right now.
Yeah, I mean, and we are ribbing the Cavs fans a little bit just because we're saying, Cavs and 5s is a lot of stuff. Cavs and 4s, a lot of stuff we were getting left and right. But I will say, I respect this Cavs team a lot. The fight that they played with tonight without 3 of those main guys, it just shows how incredible that they've been all year long, how resilient they've been all year long. Sometimes the better team doesn't always win in these matchups like this because they were the better team for 47 minutes of the game.
Absolutely.
Maybe 40 minutes, right? Maybe you can say the last quarter the Pacers were better for 8 minutes, but still, I want to say, look, as a Pacer fan, it's fun to be excited, but don't get the cart before the horse because this Cavs team, like I said, they could win 4 of the next 5. That would not shock me. They've won 64 games this year, and they've had some, rough stretches where they've lost 2 in a row, and they come back and go on like an 18-game winning streak in the regular season. It's a different type of animal, but I'm just saying, they're tough, and if anybody's counting them out now, down 2-0, you're doing yourself a disservice because this Cavs team is still good. So anyway, just want to leave it there. Facci, it's been a lot of fun, but if you're hoping the Pacers can just continue to do what they've been doing and not lose at home in the playoffs, then hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers.
Let's go!